Do a little bit of an instruction too. You gotta
Okay.
You gotta put up so many pieces of sheetrock a day.
Same thing. So again, piece rate is used for anyone that's paid according to their output. Oh, this is key. You've got to also be paid for non-productive time. So the example she gave, say she's getting cartons of pre-assembled pieces at her home. All the time it takes her to maybe go pick that up at UPS and bring it home and open it and set up her workstation. That's all compensable time as well. Okay, because she's an employee, not an independent contractor. And you've got to get minimum wage with overtime. And these are the two methods I was alluding to earlier. I'm not going to walk through the actual verbiage of it because it's way easier to just show in numbers. But suffice to say that the first method, you should recognize a word up here that we have very specifically defined. And that's this guy, right? Overtime premium, which is that tack on of 0.5. So the way this method works is I pay you for all the hours you work at your regular rate, and then anything over 40, I tack on the 0.5. Versus unit B was what I was talking about a moment ago, where, hey, I get paid a dime a unit for everything I do in the first 40 hours, and 15 cents a unit for everything I do after 40 hours. Okay, so the methods are never going to equal. And we'll see that in an example in a moment. It depends, whichever one's more beneficial to the employee depends upon when he or she produces.
So you say they gotta make minimum wage. What if they don't do anything? Like,
Then I've still got to pay a minimum wage. So yeah, you put together 6 jewelry sets all week. And then I do the math and it's like, I owe you $12 for a 40-hour work week. I've still got to pay you minimum wage and then I fire you.
yeah, they still gotta pay that.
Two methods do not give the same results. All right, let's try this. So we're going to try this fact set using both methods. So get out your calculators and mechanical pencils. Don't ever use pen when we do this. Always use pencil. And here's what happened. I'm an inspector. And I inspect, what do I inspect? Microchip punches. Sheets of silicon that have microchip punched on them. And in 1 week, 47 and a quarter hour work week, right? So I worked 7.25 hours of overtime. In a 47 and a quarter hour work week, I inspected 4,812 sheets of silicon. 600 of those sheets were inspected in the last 7.25 hours, in the extra hours. So the other 4,212 were inspected the first 40 hours. And Mustafa is paid 12 cents per silicon sheet, and we're going to calculate it according to the two methods. So just kind of jot down the data, and then I'm going to go back to the screens where the methodology is stored. So 4,812, 600 were produced in the last 7.25 hours. 4,212 were produced in the first 40 hours. And he gets paid 12 cents a unit. Okay, method A. Oh. So the first, and these are the same 4 steps over and over and over. First thing is I want you to figure out what his regular earnings are. How many did he produce over the whole time period times what he gets per unit? And actually, just like we practiced on Monday, please write your formulas all the way out. Don't just do them on your calculator. Write the algebra out, please. $4,812. That's 12 cents each. What was his regular gross pay? $577.44. Now, here's the only tricky thing about this method. That first calculation is a piece of cake. I now want to know what he made per hour. Are you going to divide by 40 or 47.25? 47.25, because that's how many hours it took him to earn that amount of money. So your next calculation is what was his regular gross pay divided by how many hours it took him to make it. So how much is this guy making an hour? Okay. So for all 47.25 hours, he gets $12.22 an hour. So first thing I can say as an employer is, phew, we're over minimum wage. The second thing I've got to worry about is what? I got to get him that additional what? 0.5. 0.5 of what? 0.5 of his hourly wage, which is what? $12.22. So he gets another 0.5 for how many hours?
7.25.
Just the last 7.25. And that is overtime premium, right? Overtime premium. Sorry, I'm going to a safety training later today, and I'm just trying to prove a point. All we want is shade some of the dust, so we can lock and shade them. Okay, so what's his overtime premium? $6.11.
How will you go back again?
Sure. So we figured out here, number 2, Allie, that he's making $12.22 an hour for all 47.25 hours, right? Now I just need to tack on that 0.5 for the last 7.25 hours. Because he's getting $12.22 an hour for all the hours, but he needs to get another 0.5 for the last 7.25, correct? Exactly, it's that 0.5, and that always throws students off. I've said it a couple times. There's a difference between an overtime rate and an overtime premium, yeah? So once you get his premium for that additional 7.25 hours, you just tack that onto his regular earnings. So in method A, he gets the $577.44 plus the premium, that additional 0.5 plus 7.25 hours. Okay. Now, let's try method B. Method B is completely different. Method B says you get one rate for everything you did in the first 40 hours, and you get that rate times 1.5 for everything you did in the last overtime hours.
Is there an easy way to remember?
No, just really the logical way to remember is in this first example, he's getting the $12 for all 47 hours, so the 1.0 is already there. You just need to tack on the 0.5. So in this example, how many units does he get 12 cents for? Yeah, the 4,212. Then he's going to get the 12 cents times 1.5 for everything that he produced in the overtime hours. So this isn't based on hours, this is based on production efficiency. And you're not going to get the same number. So for those last 600 units, he gets what? 18 cents, right? 12 cents times 1.5. Your check for reasonableness is that these numbers are close. Not going to be off by a grand, off by $6. And they're never ever, I mean, I can imagine maybe mathematically there'd be an exception, I'm sure there's an exception, but I mean, they're never, you're not looking for them to be the same number because you're emphasizing two different things. And a company can use either of them.
Do you want to try one more of these?
I can put up another example. Okay, Racine is paid to inspect shellfish. And she is paid 8 cents a case. And in 1 week, she worked 43 and a half hours, and she inspected 6,897 cases of shellfish. Of those 6,897 cases, 423 of them occurred in the last 3.5 hours. Calculate gross pay using both methods. So again, the key here on the first one is that when you get the 551.76, you have to divide by all the hours it took her to inspect the shellfish. She was up at about $12.68 an hour. And then all you need to do is tack on that 0.5, because she's already got the $12.68 for all the hours, right? Just need to tack on that 0.5 for the last 3.5 hours. Whereas in this example, the only thing you had to do, or the second method, the only thing you had to do, if she produced 400, or inspected 423 cases of shellfish in the last 3.5 hours, the question was, how many did she inspect in the first 40 hours? And you just had to subtract the 423 from the total, right, to get the 6474. And so her gross comp is 568. 68, and again, the reasonableness check, that's within $5.27 of each other, so I feel pretty good about that. If this isn't completely intuitive, which probably for most of you it isn't, go home and again, just listen to the tape or rework these on your own. The answers are there, and just practice it. Okay, the last big topic in this chapter is special incentive plans, and the bottom line is, I can really pay my people any way that I feel best meets my financial needs and incents my people to perform in a way that makes sense. I can do bonuses, I can do commissions, I can do step incrementally more greater per unit compensation if you're more productive than your neighbor on the production line, whatever. So I can do this in any way that I see fit, as long, again, as I apply it consistently and there's no discrimination in gender or, something like that. So this is just an example, but like if you're inspecting steering columns on the line for GMC, I can give you 18 cents for up to 2,000 and 24 cents between 2001 and 3,500, et cetera, et cetera. I can design it any way I want it. My check has always got to be that I'm paying minimum wage. My check has always got to be that it's non-discriminatory. And my check has got to be that I'm calculating overtime for over 40. Okay, so pretty straightforward.
So you say non-discriminatory, you can discriminate as far as who has what position, correct?
Certainly, but I want to be really careful that they're, when I run my gender-based numbers.
Right.
Does it have to document like why this person is specific?
Oh, certainly. You're
Or say like,
newer. You didn't get your certification in CAD/CAM robotics. You didn't, whatever the case is, you're one of these guys that you left. Here's why.
Does payroll have anything to do with that, like as far as the specific?
The department payroll, it's more an HR function. That's more of a human resource function, compliance with all these laws. And that's, that's kind of that gray area that I started talking about in chapter 1. There's, people think of payroll as just crunching out the numbers, but it's really pretty merged with human resource management now, and has moved, like I said, from the accounting department into the HR department in many cases. So commissions, can you pay somebody on a straight commission? Sure. You just got to make sure that if they're non-exempt, they're getting overtime, right?
So those people still like getting them, but I get them in wage still, or like how does that work?
If they're non-exempt.
Okay.
And Steve, just for your benefit, we spent a lot of time on Friday and Monday, defining what an exempt versus a non-exempt employee is. Can somebody remind us so that we can do one more overview for everybody?
white-collar professionals, CEOs, executives.
Okay, but that's all true. But let's start with exempt from what, or non-exempt from what? The overtime provisions of the Fair Labor Standards Act. So I am, for example, an exempt employee because I do not have to be paid overtime according to the Fair Labor Standards Act. Why? Because I meet one of 7 categories. You guys should all be able to name them. See if we can come up with them together. What are the 7 categories of exempt employees? Professionals, executives, highly compensated employees, and that means you have to make at least 455. It's a really weird number. It's indexed every year for inflation. Executives, professionals, highly compensated employees, computer professionals, outside salespeople, administrators, and creative professionals. And that's all in a slide earlier in the, but just to make 100% clear, because people say, oh, exempt from FICA or exempt from this, exempt from that. No, when you use the term, are you an exempt or a non-exempt employee, it is absolutely based on not you as a person, but your job description and whether you're one of those 7 categories. So this is just an example. I'm not going to have you actually crunch it out. So say I'm sold $40,000 worth of medical devices, and his quota is 31.5. What does that mean?
What are you asking?
Really, to keep your job, you need to do this. Those are kind of the bare minimum expectations. But once he hits his quota, he gets 2% in excess of that as incentive. And he gets an annual base salary of 30 grand. And he's paid bi-weekly. The first thing we always have to do is calculate his regular base. And he gets the 30 grand regardless, right? How many years he paid? 26.
So I'm just a little confused. So anybody who's on commission, do they always get an annual base salary?
It may or may not.
Okay.
When you're starting somebody off, usually there's things like car sales or real estate sales or what's another good example? Financial products. You're coming to work for me at Merrill Lynch. You're right out of school. You don't have a client base. You're 23 years old. So I'm going to give you a couple of years of a base salary and just a little bit of commission. And then I'm going to probably get rid of most of your base and let you work on commission and harvest whatever your hard work does. But if I started you off with no base, that's like you got to build your book. Okay? So then he gets another 2% on the $8,500 in excess of his quota. It might not necessarily be in excess of quota. It might just be 2% of sales period. Okay? And just you can design it any way you want it. So in total for this check, he gets $1,323.85. We talked about these without reading the screen. What's a non-discretionary bonus? It's got to be given. So it's part of our union negotiations. If you guys achieve an X% safety record, I'm going to bonus you out 1%. If you achieve X% of return on investment or gross margin or net profit, whatever I decide, you're going to get X percentage on your check. That's non-discretionary. I can't play around with it. Okay, and then lastly, I just kind of jumped through those numbers because I'm trying to get the key points here. Profit sharing, that is a discretionary plan where I say, we did really great last quarter. And it's because y'all really buckled down and you got more efficient and you did cross training and there's very little idle time because the machines were calibrated, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to distribute a form of corporate profits to you. And I can do that in lots of different ways. I can give you cash. I can put it into your retirement plan. I can give you stock in my company. Right? So profit sharing has lots of different ways. All of those are going to show up on your W-2. Okay, those are all, that's all taxable income to you. All righty, so for today, we were to look at the Chapter 2 problems. I'm going to go ahead and open those up now.